I'm going to call this public hearing meeting to order. And the purpose of the meeting is to give the public a chance to speak about the tax rate. And right at this time, I've got two names that wants to speak. Before we go any further, is there anybody else that wants to speak? We'll give them just a minute to get the timer ready. You ready? Okay. I need to, I will do that.
Okay.
I need to get the roll, please. Waiting on Dawn and Kenny. Okay, we have a quorum. I'm going to give each one 5 minutes. You don't have to take the whole 5 minutes, but I'm going to allow you 5 minutes to speak. Come up here to the podium and address the commission. If you're for a tax increase, you're against a tax increase, or you just want it left alone, or whatever just whatever your opinion is on the tax rate, now's your time to speak. So first is Barbara England.
Okay. We live on disability. Now, we're on a fixed income. And they done this appraisal, raised everybody's appraisals up. Okay? If we have to pay taxes on that appraisal, then we're had. And we already have to save our money every year to try, to get our taxes paid. But what percentage of Union County owns property and what percentage rents property? Myself, I think they should raise the wheel tax, because then everybody that lives up here is going to have to pay it, not just the ones of us that owns property. And it took a long time to get that property. And I mean, that's my opinion of it. I think the taxes should stay the way that they are, and they should raise the wheel tax, because they're going to get more money like that. You're going to have everybody in Union County have to pay. Even if they go to another county, you're going to send that money to Union County. But, I mean, that's what I think about it.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Well, thank you very much. You can.
Well, first of all, the taxes is going to be, the rate is $2.13 was, it's going to be lowered to $1.5899, isn't it? So the reappraisal, if you ain't got a real high reappraisal, taxes could be lower, they could be the same, and they could be higher. But the tax rate before was $2.13, and this county commission, if it passes tonight, it's $1.5899. I believe the rate's what, 3/4 cent?
3/4 of a penny, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what was passed.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Is that not the state certified rate that you're talking about, though, that was raised 3/4%?
No.
It failed. That motion failed. Nobody went to make a motion to reconsider.
Are they already a tax increase in effect? If we vote this in or whatever? I understand what she's saying, because I've been fighting that for a pretty good while. I'm thinking she's talking about the people for the appraisal is outreach. And, well, let's go this way, 40 to 50% of the people in Union County appraisal is pretty much stayed the same. So they're not gonna have a tax increase. But the only thing it's gonna affect will be the people, and Mr. Egan and I'm one of them, big time, will be a tax increase for the people that their appraisal is over, I think it's like 35%. And if yours is not went up more than 35%, if what I've understood now, maybe it changed since then, you'll not have a tax increase. But the people that have been highly appraised, I'm with you all the way on that. So,
Ours went up, John.
yes, ma'am. You can't.
Well, when you get that appraisal sheet, you know it's got two numbers on it. The big high number, if it's $400,000, you only pay on 25% of that. So that means you only pay on $100,000. And you can pretty easily figure, you know, what the tax is gonna be. I'm still waiting on Jason. Is he close? Oh, he's here. I'm sorry, I didn't see him come in. Jason Mills, come on up. You okay with it? Go ahead.
All right. My name is Jason Mills, and I'm here to represent the citizens of Union County. Basically, what it boils down to is a tax increase at this point in time, with the current economy the way it is, isn't fair to the citizens of Union County. We're, majority of citizens are living paycheck to paycheck already. And if you raise taxes, which is possible, you're going to put even more of a burden on those citizens that are already struggling to pay for their medication, their food, their fuel, and so on. Now, on the other flip side of that, to try to say that it's possible that they get a decrease, that is very few and far between. So trying to sell that to a citizen that is smart enough to understand that that's not necessarily going to be the case isn't fair either. So, with that being said, what I implore County Commission to do tonight would be to either keep the state certified rate, or at the very most, is to vote again on the same rate that you've already approved. Anything more than that would not be fair for the citizens of Union County. I would hope that the majority of you would agree with me. If not, that's your choice. But however, I will also say that the citizens have been taxed enough. And to continue to raise taxes unfairly isn't right either. And you need to keep that in mind for the citizens that are just living paycheck to paycheck.
Thank you. Mr. Brent.
Well, I mirror what Mr. Mills had to say more or less. We don't need a tax increase right now. I mean, our economy is headed downhill now. You know, we've raised the interest rates and things are slowing down now. And a dollar is probably worth 70 cents right now. I think all of us need to think about the less fortunate than ourselves when we vote. I think that we put ourselves in a bad position in this last budget. I think when you have to pull $800,000 out of the fund balance just to balance the budget, you've got a problem when there's only $4.8 million. Get the kitty, might as well say. Yes, we don't need a tax increase, period. I have a question for David Myers, and maybe he can answer it. David, should something happen, which is unlikely, that this fails, and I think it takes 9 votes for it to pass. If it fails, can we go back to state recommendation.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'll agree that the timing of this whole thing is bad. I mean, with the tax reappraisal, the state of the economy and everything like that. I agree with that. And we looked, and I brought some numbers up in the previous meetings in regards to groceries in particular. And the consumer price index, folks, for groceries alone is up over 10%. And like I said, you've got people that's having to decide, do I pay, they're having to reallocate money that they don't have. And I'll say this, one thing, for example, at the 1.8 rate, the highest rate that was proposed at 1.8, that puts an additional $933,000 into our budget, if passed, that we don't know what that money's gonna be spent for. It's not been earmarked, we got no idea. I mean, is it a cushion? I don't know. What's it gonna be allocated for? We don't know. But like I said, I hope that we could have got the state recommended tax rate at 1.5826. We tried that and didn't get it, and I feel like we got the closest thing and the next best thing that we could. So.
Thank you. Ms. Kent.
I had two people comment. So I reminded everybody on Facebook that we were having the meeting tonight, and I told them I would share this with our commission and with the audience. The first one is from a gentleman out of the 5th District up in Sharps Chapel. His statement is, a bad time to raise, which we all agree that it is a bad time to raise. I have another one out of the 4th District, and he made it pretty plain that he would not endorse anyone that wanted to raise taxes. He is definitely against it, and he said a few other things. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he is definitely not for a tax raise. And I think that from the 5th, that's the only two I got. I did get some people that hit it, that's what they liked, that's what they liked. And that tells me that the people that have looked at this would prefer to go with the state mandated tax rate, not with the one that we actually passed. But as far as I understand from Attorney Myers, we can do the 1.5826.
Anybody else?
Could I run my mouth again? Where did we come up with a tax rate since we passed this state tax deal? Where is the tax increase coming from?
We voted 17 times.
No, we were both on the state certified tax rate. We wasn't voting on the tax rate.
It changed every time we voted. It changed every time we voted. You can't vote on the same exact motion twice. So,
Well, I asked the mayor right here, do you have the money to cover this $800,000 that Brantley talked about here? And he said yes. So I have no problem. You're talking about the budget. I have no problem with the budget as long as he's got the money in the funds to do it with. But I was never mentioned that I'm going to have to raise these people's property taxes. But I know that I misunderstand things because I went through the same problem before. And then it comes back up with a property tax increase. We don't have to have a property tax increase.
well, that was the only thing that was passed. It's 3/4 of 1 cent.
It's .0073 higher than the state recommended rate. We tried the state recommended rate, Jim made the motion, I made the second, and the motion failed, and nobody made a motion to reconsider, that's why we couldn't bring it back up.
We voted 8 times, so.
We voted
The first time,
18
8
times.
times. Well, 3 times, the first time, so.
Somebody else can bring it up.
Right. And nobody made a motion to reconsider.
And I think the tax rate's one thing, but your tax rate has to reflect your budget.
He'd have to reflect that right there.
And I know
Look at it, there it is.
I know you don't have a problem with 800,000.
I do.
I do have a problem with it, because how long is 800,000 going to last with 4.8 million in general fund? 5 years?
Well, you don't.
You know what that means. I mean, everybody in this room knows what that
Well,
means.
you don't know that because next year you don't know what you're going to get into. You know where this grant money is coming, but that's down the road. But if there's a tax increase, we'll do it then.
I understand, Carl. What I'm saying is grant money, you're going to pay salaries. Once you give somebody a raise, you don't take it back.
Well,
You got to pay it.
we better be able to take it back.
Yeah.
You can't.
We better raise the taxes more than 2%. What are you going to do next year? I think Larry Ray was talking about that before too. What are we going to do next year? What are we going to, I mean, you're talking about now building a new school. What are we going to do then? What are we going to do if the state comes in and says, hey, guys, you're going to have to build a jail? I'm not talking about a justice center. You're going to have to do it. We ain't inventory like that in the last 4 years I've been over here, so, it's not good, so I think a tax increase as far as, right now, wait till the mayor gets better, gets on his feet, comes back to work, me and us sit down and talk about this.
You gotta have that tax done by the end of August, or your comptroller would step in
We,
and set it. And they will set it, not us. They will set it. So you only got about a month and a half.
Another thing is, the other night, we passed the tax rate before we passed the budget. Well, that's backwards. That doesn't what your expenditures are before you start adding for your tax rate to compensate for it. I don't know. I think it's a bad time, just like the lady said a while ago. There's people that are struggling in this county. Oh, it would hurt me, and a lot of people in this county. But there's people that are making decisions on groceries and medicine, and it's like we don't care. It's easy to spend somebody else's money. And we need to stop acting like it's our money. It's not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. I'm sorry, that's all I got to say.
Mr. Jesse.
Again, I want to go back to when we actually passed the 1.5899. We went back and forth here multiple times. And again, I'll stand by it. I don't have a problem. I know it's a little higher than what the state recommended. I understand that. And we tried to, that was the first option on the table that we had. And again, I'm for that state. But we couldn't get it passed. That's the thing. I mean, not one person can come here and say, okay, here it is. We've got to have a majority. And we couldn't get a majority on that. And I'll say this, I'm very thankful and very fortunate that we got the majority on the 1.5899 when we did. Because we could have been here all night.
well, why didn't somebody say, hey, guys, if you don't vote for this, then you're going to get a tax increase? I don't remember anybody on county commission or either of our leaders saying that.
It's simple math. If you go from 1.5826 to 1.5899, that's a slight increase. You're not going backwards, you're not staying the same. It's a slight increase.
Did I misunderstand, did he say we have the option of voting that in tonight, the state mandate, or the state recommended? Good night.
Well, the reason I voted for it is I asked Misty, she's here, she's a finance director, how much we'd have funds left over after if we passed the 5899, and she said 4.2 million dollars. And I tell you, I've been here before, and they passed budgets with a lot less than that in there. And this money, 800,000, you haven't had a chance to look at the budget. I mean, it's laid out in front of us, and there are a lot of raises in there. You're gonna cut all the raises out and take that $800,000 down and all everything. That's the only way you can really balance your budget. You gotta cut everything out. And I'm not for that. Because it's mandatory we pay, what, 5.9, and then they got a step rate on that. That's why I'm for the 5.8.
Originally, that it was just for law enforcement officers and not.
No, it's for the whole courthouse.
EMS.
It's for the whole
And then
courthouse.
it changed. Of course, I wasn't here at that meeting.
I didn't see it change a bit. He presented the budget, and we looked at it, we had it a week or two, 3.
2 weeks.
And all the raises was in there and everything was there. Nobody tried to cut nothing down.
But the money was there. That's what my point was.
Well, the money's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
So why do we need a tax?
Well, it's 3/4%. That's the only thing we can get passed.
I understand.
I mean,
Becky Munson.
What I wanted to say is in regards to Miss England, and I've heard it from several people in my district, I think there's a lot of seniors and disabled people in our county that doesn't realize the state has a program in place by your income. Each county's income is different. I did the paperwork for Union County. If your income is $31,900 or less, you can qualify for like freezing taxes or helping you with your taxes. But that's not done with Randy Turner's office. It's done with Gina Gilbert's office. She has the paperwork. And you have to go, and I'm sure one of the ladies in her office would be more than happy to help you with it, or Melanie with the senior citizens. I know some people that have done it, and it has really helped them out. And so I would encourage seniors or disabled with less than $31,900 income to check this out and see if you can get some help with that.
I think we got a little over $100.
Pardon?
We have been getting a little over $100.
Okay, so you were aware.
Anything else? Anybody else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved. Second.
A motion by R.L. and second by Sidney. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Motion carried. We'll take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll,
we're gonna vote on that on the
Everybody
board.
used to it.
then we'll start into the special call meeting.
Let us pray. Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, once again we come to you. God, we thank you, Lord, for another opportunity, Lord, you let us gather out. Father, we thank you, Lord, most of all for salvation. We thank you, Lord, for mercy and grace, Father, Lord, and all the goodness, Lord, that you bestowed not only upon us, but to our county, our state, and our country. God, as we come before you tonight, I ask you, Lord, to lead us and guide us in the way that will be pleasing and right in your sight. God, I ask you, Lord, to help us, each and every one that has been saved, Lord, to be a light to this lost and dying world. God, we live in a dark time, and you know that and see that, Lord, help us to bring light to the darkness. We're not the light, Father, Lord, but we can bear witness of that. God, I pray tonight, Lord, for those that are sick, God, that stand in need of a touch from you. I pray, Lord, for their infirmities and their weaknesses. I pray, Lord, tonight, Lord, home for that this come. I pray, Lord, you bring peace and comfort to those that come with sorrow and grief. God, I ask for blessings, Father, Lord, upon our county. God, I pray, Lord, that it be in accordance to your will and your riches and glory. I pray, Lord, tonight for all of our leaders at the local, the state, and the federal level, God, that you would help us, Father, Lord, to make decisions, Father, Lord, that would be pleasing to you. God, we love you. We thank you, Lord, for all your mercy and grace and goodness. We ask you, Lord, to forgive all of us, Lord, where we failed to come short of thy name's honor, Lord. In Jesus' name we do pray.
Amen. Let's see, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to, I guess I kind of got cart in front of the horse, but remember Jason and April, any prayers, every time you pray for them. Talked to Jason today, he had therapy today and he's having a rough day, so remember those people in your prayers, and also Miss Melda Barger and Miss Holloway. I think she's under the weather, and Commissioner Chesney. So remember those people when you pray. Okay, this special call meeting is for one purpose only, and that is to approve a tax rate for Union County. And we've had this as the third meeting. The last meeting we had on this, we approved one, and it is, let me get my paper. Anyway, it's 15899, and so that's what we've got approved right now. The budget's already been sent to Nashville, so that part's already sent in. We just need to fix the tax rate to send the budget. So at this time, I'll open up the floor for a motion for the tax rate for 22 and 23 years.
I make it the same as Tyson the other night, 25899.
Got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lay. Do I have a second? Second by R.L. Jones. Any discussion before we vote?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reiterate what we've been doing here. I don't think anybody in the audience has asked for a tax increase. As a matter of fact, they're telling you they don't need a tax increase. We need to go back. I mean, you got a motion on the table and we'll proceed.
Anybody else before we vote? Now this is voting for the one that's already been taxed, which is $58.99. Take a look. So that sets the tax rate at,
That's state mandated, right?
No.
that's 3/4 of 1 penny above the state mandate.
Did you misunderstand?
Yes, that is.
He misunderstood, Mr. Chairman.
Did what?
Make a motion to reconsider.
He misunderstood the vote, the yes and the no, Mr. Chairman. I don't know what the procedure is, David.
Well, a motion to reconsider, if you want to do that, it'd be up to this commission, somebody make that motion and second, the commission vote to do it. Take 9 votes.
I move to reconsider, Mr. Chairman.
Be somebody voting for it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Anybody want to make that motion? Go ahead and erase that so they can, if somebody wants to make the motion.
I'll make a motion to
rate. You know,
She can't make that motion, no, because you voted no, you have to vote it, you have to vote for
Yes,
it.
I'm sorry.
Somebody help the taxpayers out here. They don't need a tax increase.
Okay, we'll make a motion.
On the motion by Earl Cox. Anybody second? Got a second.
David, does that have to have two people that's voted?
Yes, it's voted to.
Then I can say, that's it.
Now this, oh, you can't do it?
No, because I voted against it.
Okay. Anybody want a second?
Mr. Chairman, did you vote?
You did vote.
I did vote.
Oh, I missed it.
Waiting on a second. Waiting on a second. Have to call 3 times, that's the 3rd time. Motion carried. That will be the 1.5899. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, let it know, saying aye. Well, got it on board now. Oh, my God.